All right, and thanks for tuning into Healthy Living. I'm your host, Candida, right here on 95.9 WATD. Our call-in number is 781-837-4900, and we welcome your calls here on the show tonight. We have a good friend who's been here in the past, Dan Lazzi. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
And you started a program, it's going on for many years now, back in 2004, called Outlook Program, where you go around. And kind of it just started out as a way, it's like a way of life for you now.
I was blowing off steam. That's how I say it.
Blowing off steam. You were kind of an angry kid, and you were just trying to educate teens, and you would go out there and talk with kids about how they would dress and what that means, especially for women.
Yeah, for young girls.
For young girls, and using drugs and violence and drinking and all that stuff. And actually, I found this in the news that I wanted to talk to you about because I know that you're versed in all this stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about the cyberbullying? Listen to this. 2 Massachusetts high school students have been suspended following the suicide of a teenage girl who was allegedly bullied at school and online. And this came right from the Boston Herald. School officials suspended them, and even after her funeral, they went on to her site, on her memorial site, and they were still bullying her. Is this a serious thing that's
I find that kind of disrespectful, what you just said. It's here's the thing, Candida, is that I'm at this point now where things upset me, they hurt me to hear this, but to say that I'm surprised, nothing surprises me anymore.
No. It seems like it's taken on a whole new, we used to have the bullying in the schools, now they're actually doing it on...
Candida, what do you think would have happened to you? What do your parents would have done to you, or done to me, if I did something like that? After the girl passed away and went on a website dedicated to her, and I started saying things like that.
So you think it's accountability that we're lacking?
Well, everything's intertwined. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people don't understand. I'll be talking about one subject that may seemingly have nothing to do with the one in front of me, and I try to explain to people, in my world, the way I view it, they're all intertwined, okay? When you said that to me, you know what the first thing I thought about was? I said to you, parents, what would your parents have done? What would my parents have done? We're at a 50% divorce rate right now in this country. I've actually heard that it's approaching 60%. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely... Right. So right off the bat, as cliche as it sounds, where in the world were these kids' parents? Or better yet, what type of parents are that these kids have no shame and they don't really... I mean, I'd be afraid to do something like that when I was young. I mean, I'd just be embarrassed anyway, even if my parents didn't know. Right. We're living in a culture right now that is teaching to people are just, I mean, they're objects. They're just there for your entertainment. People, to look at a girl like that, make fun of her after she died because the poor thing killed herself because she was getting made fun of, to me is no different. To objectify someone like that is no different than going to a strip club and seeing a girl up there and not really caring that it's someone's sister or whatever, or what reasons led that girl to have to work there. People don't care. They're all intertwined, all these issues, I don't know if that, again, I know I'm getting off on a different subject. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but to me, what I just said is in relation to that. They all go together.
Well, I always enjoy having you on the show, and I give you a lot of credit, because I kind of see you like going out there into the battlefield. I mean, I can't even imagine what you encounter just being in there. Pretty much you surround yourself in, like a scene with teenagers. Yeah. And you find these kids mostly at, like, shows, right?
It's usually musical events, because I grew up playing in, like, bands and stuff when I was a kid. That's what I did. I was, like, my friends had, like, whatever, like, usually loud, aggressive type music, and I just grew up in it, and I just felt when I was young, like, you could use music and stuff as such a, like, tool to, like, get a message out. And I always wanted to do that. And as I got older, I just stuck with it. And I had so many friends, like, when I decided I wanted to do, like, spoken word art, to, like, talk to kids. And, I mean, I could have gone and talked at a coffee house. I could have just gone and talked at colleges all the time. And I'm sure I would have found a lot of people who really liked it, and life would have been easy. I wanted to talk at places where it was a crowd that maybe wasn't hearing it at home and needed to, but because...
Or wouldn't have accepted you, really.
Right, and it's not just...
You come across some people that are like, hey, get off the stage.
What you're talking about, it's not just it. Honestly, like, I mean, a lot of young kids are really good to me, and they're going through this, and I'm, like, shocked at how many... I mean, when a young kid comes up to me and says, like, hey, I want to see if you can come talk at my high school. I mean, the things I'm throwing at them is stuff most kids would be like, get up, stop preaching to me. So, I mean, the young kids are really good to me. I think what you're talking about is more like there's a lot of times it'll be like a 21 plus show at, like at a bar, and like everyone's got a beer in their hand, and I'm just up there saying my thing, and that's where you get people that are like, but again,
you have a lot of courage though to do that.
Yeah, but I think like I built up a crowd, and the good and the amount of people that are helping me and supporting me just far outweigh. I mean, it's getting to a point. It's like even if I'm in a place where I don't even know anybody, I can usually like do a good job at convincing people that these issues are important, and I can, it's really getting to a point where it's like there'll be a handful of people that aren't into it, and I can't complain. Things are going so well. I'm so booked up with places I got to be and things I got to do that.
And now you probably have the audience keeping the other people in check. Like, hey,
that happens a lot. And even when I go, like if I travel to another state, you got to remember someone invited me there. A lot of times, like some of the pamphlets and stuff I have will be mailed ahead of time to the promoters, and they've already like put the word out. They'll put me on the flyer that this guy's coming to talk. They'll say like Dan from the Outlook Stop Domestic Violence Organization, whatever, will be doing a spoken word set. So sometimes I've gone to faraway places and people already knew who I was, and they're like, hey, we checked you out on the internet or whatever. This is cool when you going on. So we've gotten really good at it, and when I say we, me and the people that help me, it's become such a good like knit operation that it's not as much of a pain in the butt as it used to be. Now it's becoming enjoyable, and we're making friends, so it's going good.
And changing people's perspectives.
Hopefully, yeah.
No, you are. You definitely are. Even today on the air, I'm glad to always have you on.
Thank you.
There is, you kind of do consider yourself a straight edge, which if folks don't know what that is, it's a philosophy of staying clean and sober, refraining from using any alcohol, tobacco, any recreational drugs.
Yeah.
Some of them go to the extent of being vegetarian or vegan, which you are.
Yeah.
And you don't use any caffeine or prescription drugs.
Well, you know what the thing with that is? I just want to say quick. With that is, I'm not against. We have technology for a reason. We have medications for people who are sick. What's happening right now in this country is not that. It's if you get a paper cut, you go get an aspirin. I remember when I was young, you'd have 1 out of 100 kids that like took Ritalin or what. I mean, it's like I have attention deficit disorder. Okay, when you're young, some people have that. People legitimate. I mean, now you look, it's like there's 30 kids in the class. You're telling me 28 of them have attention deficit disorder and they all need medication. Yeah. I mean, everyone's on medication. There are people who get up and cannot function without a coffee. I don't think that's. I mean, I'm not against caffeine. I mean, I don't care if someone gives me a soda or whatever. But it's scary when people can't function without caffeine.
Without it.
I mean,
it's all the extremes.
Right,
really.
And I even think with going to the doctor, I mean, again, this is some of the more controversial aspects of what I talk about, but I mean, people just go running to that doctor, and it's like, I mean, there are people out there that have cured cancer without chemotherapy. I know someone who personally did it. I mean, there's natural healings out there. I'm sure I'm talking your business right now. And we make ourselves sick too. People walk around with a cell phone all day, put it against their head, and then they got a tumor coming out the same side of the skull where they're always talking on the cell phone. Then they put it in their pocket right by their hip, and they're wondering why they got ovarian cancer. Mm-hmm. I mean, people are just walking around microwaving their food, having a nuclear device in their kitchen. I think at some point, like, we cause these diseases, So that's where the caffeine thing comes in.
Do you think there's an urgency that people need to really listen up of what you're talking about?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's.
So you're like the eye-opener. Like, come on, folks.
Yeah, like, I do a lot of charity stuff, but I also think, like, I mean, look at what, like, just talking about issues does. That, like, gets the ball rolling. I mean, there's a lot of people that started a lot of good change, and it was just from talking. Right. And they didn't do anything. They just talked about it, and it got it going,